So good morning, everyone. We're just waiting for everyone to connect, and then we'll introduce you to the ladies from Younified. So we've got Anneka Hicks and Melissa Knight, who are with us to tell us all about Younified. It's a new project, and I'm as excited as everyone else is to hear about it. So if you want to go ahead, ladies, and just tell us all about it.
Hello.
Anneka, I'll let you start.
Oh no. Hi, Rachel. Thanks ever so much for having us. It's an honour. We're still so early on in our Younified journey that we haven't actually launched the platform yet, but it will be happening in the next couple of weeks. So we are both sufferers of sort of long-term chronic illnesses. I've had my battles with anxiety and depression for a number of years, since my 20s. And Younified has been born out of our need, I guess, to find solutions for different symptoms and getting to the bottom of trying to be as balanced emotionally and physically as we can. So my background's marketing. I am in the Midlands, and Melissa and I met when we were members of Excluded UK. I was one of the original founders of that. Melissa does, I think it was sort of August time last year that we saw a real decline in people's mental health in general. As a result of isolation, shielding, whether they were on the front line, we really did see a decline. And Melissa and I worked quite closely with a number of charities and partners to try and bring together a solution that would help people. I had a bit of an emotional breakdown myself in November, and it's taken a number of months actually to recover from that. It's been a long journey, and I guess this has kind of pushed back Younified a little bit. We wanted to launch earlier in January, but because of our own struggles, it's been a little bit more delayed than we hoped. Melissa, I'll hand over to you.
I actually work for quite a large company, and a huge reason behind the Excluded work and the Younified work is because I have access to an employee assistance programme, and I was diagnosed with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and the wait list on the NHS was, months really, even just to get a diagnosis. But thankfully, I got free CBT very quickly through my employee assistance programme, and it's no exaggeration to say that it completely saved my life. That without that person, without Sharon, who actually I'm seeing now, I dread to think what would have happened, if I'm honest. So, as we were going through launching the funded mental health programme with Excluded, it just started even more obvious that certain groups or just certain people didn't have access to this sort of thing, this life-saving talking therapy. And then as we were going through, it was like there's so much more than talking therapies, and we had conversations with charities like Step Change, with the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapists. And we just learned so much along the journey. At the beginning, I was just going from passion and from my own experience and just really just wanting to do something to help. And along that journey, with the help of our amazing counsellor as well, and the hypnotherapist that just stuck by my side the entire time, we managed to launch something that hopefully, it has made a difference. We've like I say, Anneka has said, and I had my sort of mini meltdown with my anxiety peaking as well, and there were some amazing people through that journey as well that just sort of kept saying, no, you've made a difference, it's okay, and keep going. So behind all this, I've got I've got a chronic bowel disease, and I've got recently-ish diagnosed with epilepsy, as well as the OCD. And my personal experience and learning is that almost everyone can trigger the other, and it's not a direct circle in terms of clockwise or anti-clockwise. One, if I'm having a problem with my bowel, that can lead to my anxiety peaking. But then also, if my anxiety peaks, it sometimes triggers the physical side. And it's been just very, I know that there's been lots of evidence and we've done lots of research by that, but it's just, when we did the survey at the beginning, the huge response was that people didn't believe there was enough understanding in society and support around that intrinsic link between the physical and mental health. That's kind of, I'm just so, honestly, just so passionate. I just want to do something that helps, and we just hope that that we can get it by pulling everyone together.
It's I mean, my own experience, I've got fibromyalgia. Kind of symptoms of that are depression and anxiety, as well as physical pain. But I've also suffered since I gave birth to my child, if I'm honest with you. My body never recovered from that. So I've got issues with my ligaments and tendons around my pelvis specifically. So I have episodes where I can just do something really normal, like emptying the dishwasher, and the tendons just tear completely and leave me on crutches for 8 weeks. So that actually happened at the end of January. I was doing something in the utility room that I probably shouldn't have done, and I ended up in hospital for a week. Ambulance came, whole canister of gas and air, scans, and it came down to the fact that essentially it's down to the fibromyalgia. It's down to the fact that my ligaments and tendons are not strong enough. And I can't help but think that there's a connection to the fact that, I had an emotional crisis in November. My emotional state, my mental state was very, very low. The anxiety and the tension that causes in your body, there has to be a link. And that's probably as a result of why I had that physical episode at the end of January, because my body just wasn't in the right state. And it's kind of ironic that in the middle of all of our research, we're going through such personal journeys as well, with anxiety and pain and management and what do we do. And we're both very different people in terms of how we deal with it as well. I think that's where the original idea for Younified came from, is that I spend way too much money on trying every product, every app on the. I can't. I'm sat here now with my weighted blanket, a funny hot water bottle, a heat pack on my back, asleep with a massive sausage because I have to keep my
careful.
I have to keep my knees apart when I'm sleeping, so I literally I'm hugging this massive sausage. I wear compression gloves and compression socks when the fibromyalgia peaks. I'm on supplements galore, turmeric and black pepper and CBD oil, as well as prescription medication at the moment. And I'm speaking to Melissa, and she has hair problems, and she doesn't try any of that. And I'm thinking, how do you live your life without trying?
This is, for me, the reason for Younified is that, I'm a mum of 3, I work. And so I start to look, Google, and start to think what could help. And then I get so overwhelmed, probably because of my anxiety as well. And I'm like, okay, I could try this, I could try that, but then I've got to find someone that I know is reputable, and then I've got to try it, and I probably will forget, and my brain just goes into overload. That I just can't get my head around it all. So we were just talking and saying, if we had a group of these people, of these experts, of which we're not, we are the people that are learning along the way, that can guide us, and that we can just try something. Oh, actually, I'm a member of Younified, and there's a hypnotherapy session on. I'll try that, and then you can just see if it works. And a little bit of me is I can be quite skeptical of certain things, and that's probably a difference between me and Anneka as well. But I would give it
anything.
But for me, I wouldn't go out and actively search for it. But if it was an event on, I'd think, oh, I'll try that.
Yeah.
And actually, even along the process of speaking to people and being open and honest about our own conditions, the people that have come forward that have said, oh, actually, I have CRPS, a chronic regional pain syndrome, that you just didn't know about, and probably people didn't know certain things about me or about Anneka. And some of the techniques that have worked, I mean, like singing therapy or listening to music that actually helps with your pain. Yeah. And I would have been like, but it's made me realise there's certain music that I put on, and actually it's credit to my husband, actually, that he plays it for me sometimes when he can see that I'm in one of those panics. And I hadn't been the skeptic and been the sort of science logic type person. I didn't realise it until literally a few weeks ago. And I'm one of those people that science and logic helps me. So when I was diagnosed with OCD, I was kind of like questioning myself, is it my fault? Am I going bonkers? What's going on? And then I watched a panorama program about that you could literally physically see it on a scan, and the science behind it, and my CBT expert explaining to me about retraining the brain, and then seeing that it worked throughout that process, through months and months for me in particular, maybe years. I like to see that science. I'm the person that will sort of go, when we're speaking to experts and asked to contribute to our platform, it's having that balance of seeing people like me who want to read the detail, and people like Anneka who,
just want to give it a go. Yeah,
I just want to give it a go anyway. Yeah,
open-minded.
Yeah, it's interesting because Catherine, who was on just before you with the music, her music is tuned to a different frequency, which is supposed to help you to be calm anyway. And I every time I listen to Catherine, I just sort of go into some kind of almost like a trance state. Just I'm not, whatever's happening, I'm not stressed. I mean, we couldn't get her music to play properly this morning, and it was like, well, it doesn't matter. Here's the YouTube link. Go on and we'll just all chill out together. And it was wonderful. Yeah. Absolutely wonderful. So I can see where you're coming from with particularly like sounds and music is very relaxing. Yeah.
I think it's a case of trying to, sorry, Melissa, just normalising it for everybody. Just because we have diagnosed conditions, I think, the last year, the last 12 months have been so tough on everyone that, we want to, I'll share some slides in a second, which will probably help the kind of describe that. We want to catch people before they get into anxiety and depression. It's a slippery slope once you start having a long period of low mood. And that's been very common for most, a lot of society in general. And I think, this whole stigma behind mental health, we need to just change it. And I think there's no better opportunity in society than to change it now, because everyone is experiencing it. Everyone needs to look after their mental well-being. And it's not just about, standing bare feet and it's really not. It's affecting everybody. Depression, anxiety, stress. I mean, just as a mother doing, the homeschooling this year has been torturous. And lack of sleep. Just a sleeping condition can trigger other issues. But I
just want to actually quickly before you add on to that, it's the whole mental physical health thing is, to me, it's health. It's just, I could never understand why it was almost differentiated. And what we need to, in fact, just listening to ourselves talking as well now, is what we need to make sure we instill in people. It's, you don't come to Younified just because you think you have a mental health issue. You come because you've got some pain, or you've got stress or you can't sleep.
What?
Diagnosed or undiagnosed, it took me years to get diagnosed with my bowel condition, but there are still things that can help, and in particular things like fibromyalgia and IBS. You know, I talk to people who don't have the disease, like I've got IBD, but suffer in the same way, and it's almost tougher for them because
they don't
been told, it's not a formal diagnosis, it's not patient, and you can't take. And I know even just talking with each other, then we do start to go into that mental health side. But it's the entirety and
it's your whole being. That's I mean, and I think, you know, if we can normalize that people need to look after their, you know, they know they need to eat healthily. They know they need to go to the gym. Well, we need to normalize knowing that you need to look after your brain too. And that's just sometimes just down to getting a proper work-life balance. You know, the amount of people that just you know, you're on that professional route. I've been there myself. You know, your head down, nothing else matters. It's work, succeed. And you dry yourself out, you know, you reach burnout so quickly. And that in itself is something that just happens. It's happened to everyone. And I think a lot of people could relate to that, you know, just having a period of just thinking, when's it, you know, when do I get off this non-stop?
But I think what people, I think the stigma is that when somebody says mental health, everybody assumes that it's a negative, but either we all have physical health, we all have mental health. You can be sick and nobody goes, oh, pull yourself together. But when you've got mental health issues, it's almost seen as not really that much of a problem. Just pull yourself together.
It's really difficult because, you know, if you break your arm, it's very visible. You're going to go to the NHS. You're going to get, you know, your arm in a cast, and everyone's going to say, "Oh, what did you do to your arm? You know, how long's that going to take?" And you can't move it for 6 weeks. You know, that's how it fixes. Your brain is exactly the same. You know, when it breaks, it's not your fault. No. But you also can't. It's not visible from the outside, and it's very difficult then with people around you to explain how you're feeling. And that obviously comes with its own struggles with, you know, that brings on anxiety and you know, how am I being perceived? And that's your brain's just working overtime. It doesn't get that sick, you know, wrapped up in a cast. Stop.
Yeah, it can't, can it? Yeah. You can't stop. Yeah.
And to your point, Rachel, people don't, when they hear the word mental health, it's like you've got it or you haven't type thing. And there's a lot of people, me included back 10 years ago, that thought, oh, well, mental health is just a thing. You know, you've got to be diagnosed with depression. You've got to be diagnosed with anxiety. And it's not that. You just have to,
you know, oh, you're the crazy woman with mental health issues. No, it's you know, mental health is a thing that all of us have got to look after.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think that's the thing
with mental health as well as bad mental health, can't you? You can have that time where you actually are in a great place. And I'm guessing that's where you're trying to people from the place where they're sick, mental health, to mental health, well, feeling great. Yeah.
But also trying to make people accept that it's going to be up and down, you know. It's teaching people or educating people or just and ourselves really that how to deal with it when you are having a bad day and not I go into like almost a panic, a fear because I'm like, oh God, is my OCD coming back again? Oh, I can't bear that, I can't. And then so for years I've been well in terms of that, and I know how to cope. I've done all the training. I've got my CBT, but still, when you're in that moment where you're breaking, you need to go back and have that person, even though you feel like I can do this. I've done it before. It's fine. I've beat it type thing, and that's what we hope with Younified as well. It's that, you know, you can for years, 6 months, weeks, and you're fine. You just need that one little moment of just talking and community and a listen or trying a different thing so that you have hope that you'll come out at the other end. I think that's my experience. Anyway, I went through a period where I was like, I've got this. I've beaten this. I'm on medication. You know, I've done the hard work. And then when it comes back to bite you, then you worry, and then you're like, oh my God. And until, I mean, genuinely, without having Anneka and Sue, who works on the mental health counselling, you know, that's and my family and my CBT. So all those things together helps you get through and stops you being scared. And I think Anneka made the point earlier about your broken arm. It feels as though you have to break every bone in your body with mental health to get the help that you need. So you have to hit crisis before you can go and say, I'm broken, I need medication. And you necessarily don't always need medication. If you'd caught it early, like any illness or disease, really, it's much easier to come out of. And that's heartbreaking, isn't it, to think, and even with our experience in Excluded, people didn't take up the offer of help because they felt someone else was worse off than them. And it's like, no, we all there's no one that, I can't imagine there's one person in the world that could sit there and go, oh yeah, you know, I don't need anything.
Absolutely fine,
So and that's the approach we want to get out there, is that we just want to talk, to normalise it, to pull together experts with the same ethics and vision as us, and just learn and just be there
together. I'll just share my screen if I can work out how to do it.
You can see we sort of waffle on at the moment because we're just so passionate about it, which sounds so airy fairy, doesn't it? And it's all like,
no, right,
just the truth of it.
We should have done this all along, really, but I don't know if you can you see that? So this is just going back to the survey that we did, which is why, you know, this has all come about, really. You know, we wanted to know, just from a general level, how society was feeling, you know, about their physical and emotional health. So yeah, I mean, to find out that 90% said they'd experienced increased feelings of stress, anxiety, depression, headaches, widespread pain, you know, 90%. It was a small section of society that we surveyed, but, you know, even if that was exaggerated by 10%, it's still too much. 80% said the physical symptoms had worsened or increased. So if they were already experiencing some form of pain, or, you know, your general aches and pains that you get, as we said earlier, it's about, you know, when you're anxious or stressed, your body tenses up. You know, every fibre in your body, if you're angry, becomes tense, and that tension then leads to aches and pains, and that's where the physical symptoms have been worsened. Where are we? I mean, 87% of society don't think that there's a broad enough understanding between the connection between physical and emotional health, which is, you know, just shows that there is such a need for what we're doing and what we're trying to pull together. Everyone is completely different, and all of their symptoms and how they manage them and how they're going to feel better. Everyone's completely different, and it's just like, you know, finding your pieces of your jigsaw, I think, is probably how we would describe Younified. And what we want to do is bring together as much as we can to help as many people as we can, and just normalise it. But and
I think as well, that whole concept of sort of well-being, it's not just about, you know, nutrition and physical health and mindfulness. There's huge aspects with this crisis about, you know, financial well-being, which, when you haven't got it, can flood everything else. And a lot of feedback we got from people was that when they ended up with a counsellor as such, actually their problem was that they just needed some help with getting their finances sorted, because they were so lost. And once that core issue was sorted, they could then focused on something else. So we want at some point in the future to sort of expand and go, actually, we'll get some people, charities that can support with that, or people that can give advice on debt or on finances and stuff. That's our hope, because it didn't surprise me. I don't know, I suppose it did sort of surprise me that the feedback we got is quite a percentage of those people that went for counselling actually. It's like, when people sort of go to the GP and almost make up a physical problem, and when they talk through, it actually comes down to something else.
Yeah.
And it was almost this, and she was such an amazing lady as well, that she could get that out of people, and she could handhold them and point them to citizens advice, or point them to a debt charity. And it's just that listening, isn't it? It's not about formal counselling, as they're doing that because some people don't think they need it. It's just that in between, that little bit of a handhold and help you through a struggle.
Do you know, from my point of view, as being one of the excluded myself, is that side of it, because I've been very, very lucky that my husband's been working throughout, so I haven't had the financial struggles. Obviously it's never been easy, and I'm disappointed that I lost my second year of business when things were going so well. But for me, it's been the not being able to bring anything into the household makes me feel a little bit useless.
Yeah.
And the confidence that, the knock of my confidence has been vast. I mean, imposter syndrome is just like every time I've done anything, it's like, what do you think you're doing? Why do you think you should be able to do this? And for me, that's what I'm looking for from, all this kind of thing, is that little bit of confidence again.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, I'm completely with you on the confidence thing. I think, I ran my own business for 15 years and employed, 3 or 4 people and worked with 9 or 10 sort of freelancers on a regular basis. We were classed as a very successful business. When the lockdown first happened, there was enough money in the bank for me to carry on paying them until August, and we were very confident. We only thought it was going to be a blip for a couple of months, and probably too cocky, I suppose. I topped all my staff up to 100%, got them on furlough, and then I think it was around that August time when you just think, wow, this is actually a lot different, and I wish I'd have looked at those red flags when they were there. And it's the confidence of thinking, I've done something wrong, I could have dealt with it better. I failed, I failed, and now I'm having to let myself go, and that's just heartbreaking. And you're not bringing, like you say, you're not bringing your income into the home. You're feeling like the rug's been pulled from under you, and you don't want to accept that it's not your fault, because you're self-sufficient. As an entrepreneur, as a human, you don't want to ask for help generally. And it was a horrible. It's been a really troubling year, and I think this slide particularly sort of wherever you are on the journey of the early symptoms, for example, of just having a couple of really low days, and that it's okay, that there's going to be this, that you can go and do your meditation or something that's going to help you, and then you'll be fine for weeks, like Melissa said, but there are people that get to sort of struggling before they go to accept that they might need some medical intervention, and that in itself is the shame of being on antidepressants. That just shouldn't happen.
Do you think you may get, because there's obviously a lot of things coming out with the long COVID as well, that people have had the COVID and they've sort of are better, or they think they're better, but the fatigue and things that are still with them, they're blaming on other things, but it's part of the illness itself.
And it's trauma as well. It's the whole of this thing. People think of trauma as something that's to do with like the war or something significant. Well, not significant. This is significant. What we sort of reaching out in terms of experts as well is those trauma specialists that, I definitely think that the past few months for me has been traumatic, even just, going to get emotional. Speaking, we're lucky. We've had our break. We've got people with us. Can you imagine how you could survive that if you were shielding? if you were on your own, if you're an NHS worker that was having to put everyone else before you, that's, you're in that moment, and then there'll come a point where it's done, and then you know those people are going to need time to realize that they've been through this, and that you know it's. I read an article the other day, and it said that it is like a tsunami of mental health. And what really surprised me actually was that this research showed that there was actually a reduction in sort of general referrals for psychotherapy, but an increase in those that really were critical. So they were sort of saying that perhaps people were holding off, and that then when we come out this at the end, then all those people are just going to be a tsunami of needing extra help. And we all know that the NHS is overwhelmed as it is. Sorry, my dog's just come to say hello. I shall leave it on to you for a minute now, Anneka.
But I guess using the tsunami as the thing, I can see how that's happening, because at the moment we're actually in the bit where we're flooding, aren't we? And what we're trying to do is keep our own heads above water, but help anybody else that we can see that's struggling. And we don't realise until that recedes, and we have to start rebuilding, how much that's affected us personally. Yeah.
And there's like, just on this particular slide, we've been talking quite a bit lately about, you know, the groups of society that, you know, we've all been impacted, but there are certain people that are still in the thick of it, and that, you know, maybe from our sort of not-for-profit side that we could help, like NHS workers. We were talking about sort of key workers, but it's people that work in the supermarkets. You know, they have had to face angry people, almost arguing over a toilet roll. They have to risk their lives going in to work. And there, you know, there's a lot of support out there for key workers, but I sometimes think there's certain areas that are sort of, we're not appreciating them. Teachers, my God, you know, have I got a new respect for teachers now after homeschooling? I was just looking through the people shielding. I'm a shielder, and again, I've got my family around me. Those people that are isolated, my parents who haven't been able to see their grandchildren. You know, God, it's been hard for them over the past year. The exclude is on there because those who have financial, and it's not just to your point, it's not just financial. All the kind of, when I was looking into the research about mental health and sadly suicide stats, all of the triggers were within that group. That feeling that people, that you're not wanted, or that you don't deserve things, the financial stress, the not knowing your future, all of those things contribute. And it's
awful to get to the point where, you know, you need that help. You know, you're at that struggling point. You know you need that help, and then almost to sort of, because the NHS is overwhelmed, you know, to go to to finally have the confidence to go to the GP and go in with the thought that they're going to help you, and actually all they can do really is just give you a box of pills and say, we can refer you, but it's going to be 16 weeks. You know, 16 weeks, 4 months. Can you imagine feeling like this? And sometimes I think you come out of that sort of medical area feeling really kind of deflated and lost. And, you know, how am I going to recover from this? And I think this is what we wanted to bring together too with Younified, is that, you know, we want to help take the pressure off. If we can help take the pressure off the NHS by normalising the stigma, if you like, early on, encourage people to just get involved and find things that work for them and make them feel better about themselves, stronger emotionally, stronger physically earlier on, then we're gonna hopefully prevent that tsunami of medical intervention that's required, but also catch the people that have been, you know, maybe feeling lost in the system, you know, are waiting for that CBT referral that is, you know, probably going to get to 20 weeks by the time they get it. You know, and we can't forget that during the war, you know, these soldiers came home with PTSD. You know, so they were on the front line. They were thrown into the, you know, into seeing things that they never thought they were going to see. The NHS workers have done exactly the same. to read the stats on, I think it was something like 37% of NHS workers want out. There's going to, talk about a tsunami. There's going to be a tsunami of NHS workers that will leave the NHS because of the stress and trauma that they've had to face for the last 12 months. And we need to support them. And that's what this is, this is all about, is bringing together as many people. And we want to work with, UK independent people, businesses that provide a range of support, whether it's products or symptom management or therapies or training or recovery, anything that is involved in building up that kind of resilience in society. We want to be able to bring it together and help anybody who needs it, and hopefully that's what we want to get to.
I think that's a good point. Like, in terms of when I mentioned about my work saving my life, 100% the NHS saved my life as well. I've got so much passion and belief and have so much admiration for all the people that work in the NHS. And the thing that really broke my heart, seeing a few of them, is the interview with a porter that was still working in the hospital, moving people who had lost his wife within the last 45 minutes from COVID, and he was carrying on. And it's people like that, they are incredible, and that's going to come back to hit them. And where do they go for?
Where do they go? Yeah.
But just on that previous slide, it's what I really want is, for me, I felt like my OCD crisis was literally overnight. I went to bed fine. I woke up in the morning thinking that things that I'd done someone was going to die because of it. It felt literally like sleep, wake up, bad. Yeah. It obviously wasn't. When you look back, if I'd have realised it, or I had family that had realised it, my family were amazing, by the way, but we're not in society educated enough to see the warning signs. Yeah. It's not just those people in crisis. It's join Younified, even if you feel completely okay, because it's just that understanding and that learning, because you don't know it yourself, or certainly I didn't, until I was just gone.
And
that's the saying about the people that go to the gym and what have you. You don't go to the gym or eat healthy because you're already sick, do you? You go to the gym and eat healthy to keep well.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah, and you're right. It is the education for society in general. The more people that can help the community normalise what we're talking about here, will help, friends and family members understand what people are going through. I saw just overnight, Eamon Holmes is suffering with chronic pain. He's a chronic pain sufferer and he can't sleep. He has Twitter chats with his fans every night in the twilight zone. And I think we all sort of put on a face, and we all have good days and we all have bad days. And those of us that are suffering with chronic pain or ongoing illnesses or hidden illnesses, when a friend or a family comes over and sort of says, well, I can't see it. I don't really get it, because
you look well.
You look well. You're laughing. You've got your face on. You're taking your kids to school. You're running a business. How can you be ill? How can you be ill? And we're all fighting a battle that nobody knows about, And I think there's a lot more people in that situation than we realise. I think it's your best friend. It is your dad. It is. We're all struggling here, somehow.
I think it's we talk sort of big scale about changing society. We're not going to do that as Younified, but if we can even just help a person realise that they need, if someone could have scooped me up before I broke and made me realise, just me as a person, for Anneka and I, if we can just, and it's that sort of rolling, individual change. People think, as a small individual, I can't do anything. And certainly for me, this is hard for me. I've never run a business. I'm sat here, not wanting. Anneka had to sort of give me a pep talk to even join, and I was like, "Sure, you don't want to do it? You'll be all right. It's fine." And the only thing that has got me to do this sort of thing is the feeling of privilege I've got for how. Yeah. And I promised myself, I promised myself that I would, when I recovered, that I'd give something back. It was hard. I watched programs about people suffering, and I can, and people thinking there's no end, people thinking, oh, I've got OCD and that's my life forever now. Yeah. And I know it's not. And
it's really hard. I mean, just last week, I woke up and I just, I had to kind of do an outpouring on, and it was quite cathartic to write it down anyway. But the amount of support I got just from, I was just a Facebook, it was a rant. I woke up and I just, it was a Monday morning. I was having a flare up anyway with the fibro. I felt really low, and I just thought, no one knows what people go through, even in the first couple of hours of a day. There's this term I learned recently, spoonie, and I what's a spoonie? And it comes from the story behind it is essentially we all wake up and we've got 20 spoons, and how we use those spoons. It could be straws, it could be anything, but on this occasion it's spoons. How we use those spoons throughout the day is basically how how we get through. So for me, it takes me one spoon just to sit up in the morning because of the pain and get out of bed. It takes me 2 spoons some mornings just to get in the shower and know that I've got to hold on to something in case I slip or twist in the wrong way and end up on my arse. I'm absolutely petrified of being found unable to move naked.
Yeah, I get that.
And to get dressed, and to use, another 3 spoons, if you like, just going in and choosing something to wear and thinking, well, actually, my arthritis is playing up this morning, so I can't wear that top because it's got stupid small buttons on, and now I'm getting frustrated, and now I'm angry, and I've got this to do, and I've got to do that before that time, and then, I've got to get the boy to school, and already you've used up, 5 or 6 more spoons just getting to the point of getting downstairs. And people don't understand that when you get to 9 o'clock and you've used that much effort, it's taken that many spoons, if you like. You've only got 4 spoons left for the rest of the day.
I think I haven't got to that stage yet where I can open up. I open up to friends and family, but even then, you kind of feel like when you've got these chronic illnesses, it's like, oh, not again. I say sorry all the time. I say sorry to work. I say sorry because I don't want to moan. Whereas if we've got a community of like people where you can talk and they understand, you do feel this guilt almost. It's so stupid, like I'm the one suffering, but yet I feel like people are going, oh God, here we go again. Every diagnosis you go, oh God, now she's got epilepsy. It's as if somehow I'm putting it on. And I have that imposter syndrome myself in terms of that illness. And until someone sees it, until it's physical, until it's diagnosed. So I've got work to do in that space myself. This is my first baby step into it. And next I'll be doing a Facebook post. Using about 20 spoons.
Use the term, the 20 spoons. You've got 20 spoons, and how do you spend them? How do you use them through the day? I don't know why it's spoons. I don't know why. It was anyway, it's a bit of a random thing. But my other half will get up and he wouldn't have spent 1 spoon and he's out and, in the car to work, and
but also people don't realise it, do they? No. Because we have got a diagnosis, in some ways we're the lucky ones, because you go, oh God, I've had a flare up of this, whereas there's people that don't have a diagnosis, and it's so hard to get a diagnosis, and sometimes there isn't one, sometimes there just isn't one, and then how do you explain to people then that you haven't got enough spoons because you feel like it's an excuse, and it's just so wrong. Diagnosed or not diagnosed, we're all suffer from pain. We all you know, in some form, you know, struggling to sleep, you don't need to have a diagnosis. You don't need to be considered medically formally unwell. You know, I'm quite proud of my, you know, formally crazy title. You know, I'm legitimately crazy, but you don't have to be. It's reach out. We can be there.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've been talking for 45 minutes.
I know. That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. But I think it's really interesting because I think a lot of the things that you've been saying, I mean, we've had a comment in the chat box that says you're amazing ladies, but Catherine's had to leave, but she's found you on social media and she's going to look forward to all your posts. But I think that's, for me, that's the thing, isn't it? It's finding that community of people that are not going to judge you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Acceptance, normalize it. You know, we need to, it's okay to have a rubbish day. It's okay to and be so tired. You need to have a day in bed, you know, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're diagnosed with something tragic illness that you know, you're going to have to suffer for the rest of your life. But, you know, let's just all just work together and see what we can do to help society in general.
I was going to say, I think Anneka, just really quickly at the end, we know we're in out time. Anneka and I both belong to kind of like, I belong to a Crohn's and colitis Facebook group, and Anneka's on a fight. And so you go on there and you find your stuff that's just for your illness. But I'm a whole person, you know, and I don't want to go and just look for, you know, and sometimes the symptoms are actually from my side effects of a medication. And the other thing I really learned, which I just want to get in there, is that we talk about happiness, like the ultimate goal in life is to be happy, and we teach our children almost that. And I read a book, I think actually it's one that Anneka recommended to me, There's No Such Thing as Normal. And in there she said, we should be teaching our children that every emotion is normal.
Absolutely.
And you don't need to strive to be happy. You need to know that emotion of anger is there for a reason, and how to manage that emotion, not to strive for this completely unrealistic, I'm going to be happy all my life. And that's, for me, I sat there in the past going, oh, what makes me happy? What do I think about? How am I happy? And it's like, well, I'm forgetting the moment then, aren't I? So I think that's a key part as well.
With purpose, it is, you know, it's finding a purpose in your life where it is rewarding for you, and that's what we strive to do. And I think we've definitely, well, I if you'd have told me a year ago that we'd be running a mental health community,
physical health, wellbeing,
I would have probably laughed you out the door. You know, I've been working in IT telecoms for the last 17-18 years. This is just as far away from that as possible, but I genuinely feel like, you know, this really is our calling. You know, this is so rewarding to be able to work with people and see the benefit of what we've brought to them, you know, in a weird kind of way, just making the introductions to the hypnotherapy and someone coming back and going, do you know, I'd never have tried that if it wasn't for you recommending it, or, you know, it's really helped. And that's what we need to do. And the bigger the community, the better.
My friend actually texted me last night saying, you know, so proud of you, because she knows that even just post a tiny little word on Facebook for me, or even just to reply to a text to my friends, I find so hard, which is ridiculous, I know. But she was saying, you know, so proud, because you're doing something that I know for you personally is really hard. You know, it's not just a normal thing. So
yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. I really appreciate you taking time this morning to come and talk to us. It's been live in several of my Facebook groups as well, so you'll be able to get the recording of that and share that around if you want to. But yeah, I think it's really good, and I think myself, I'd love to work with you, but I know that I've got 17 other speakers that have been working over the weekend that I think will also want to be having a chat to you as well.
Please do.
Please do. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rachel.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.